I want to start with a question about status quo. I know everyone is here for GIS, for OSS, and yay, we are building GIS as OSS, right? That's cool, that's great. But question is, when did it ever become, OSS as a purpose of GIS? I think it's really key question for today. Because GIS is technology, and OSS is just a scheme. And there should be some kind of purpose. What's the true purpose of GIS and OSS? And let's get it real. Tackling social issues, peace. And when we say social issues, we could say job inclusion, GIS for OSS, for job inclusion. And what we are trying to really ask is it true that continuing as a commuter for OSS is a bit difficult as a decent and sustainable job? Or can we actually utilize GIS to co-create job opportunity for marginalized people? And of course we say yes with Rearth. Let me show you. So our purpose is to create the world where you want to preserve everything, every information. We say this because right now, the world, I don't really want to preserve anything. Because too many shits happened. Like, Russian invasion in Ukraine, flood in Pakistan, conflict in Sudan. It's everywhere. Like, these kind of things happen like every year. That's right now. But to create the world where you want to preserve everything, I think what's important is anyone should be the one to preserve everything. Anyone should be able to become the one to preserve everything. And to do so, we created Rearth. It's a no-code web browser-based GIS to allow anyone to visualize data. And then we can make extensible plugins, anyone. And you can do data management, data delivery, analytics, visualization. And because it's open source, no vendor lock-in. Even if you carry out when bankrupt, it's gonna left over for society so that everyone can keep using it. It's so good that, wait, I don't know how to go back. Back. 左押してたんだよね。All right. It's so good. The Japanese government decided to use it as core technology for smart city of Japan. Cool video, huh? But that's what we are materializing in Japan. With Rearth, it's 3D model cities to let anyone to analyze and visualize everything. It's actually developed, maintained, supported, and utilized by many of refugee members. It's so easy that anyone can train it, and then anyone can deal with it. I guess I'm a bit sleepy, or the PC is a bit sleepy. Wait a minute. And the reason why this is really suitable for job inclusion is it's web GIS, web and GIS. And then it's really highly demanded skill by many governments like civil engineering, web engineering, city planning, UI UX design, disaster prevention. You can build career, various of them, with this skill. So that's why we focus on that. And we even create marketplace where anyone can be job creator rather than job seekers. They can make plugins and they can make revenue out of it. And I want you to listen to the story of Nina. The voice not coming up. The voice of Nina. She is our member from Damascus. Right. And then remote work really gives her hope to live. It's by Nina. Working with Eukarya has helped me financially and educationally. I believe that the domestic situation will improve someday. So, still, so many shits happening in her region. But still, Eukarya became the hope. Her, I would say, last hope, where she wants to be connected through PC, and we can achieve that. And this video was really good. I hope we can share it later. But he's not working anymore, so let's go. Running out of time, and then I don't know how to keep going. All right. And then another case, it's about story of Mahel. And we met Mahel back in 2019 in Lebanon, in refugee camp. Our CEO, Kenya, after his first capital procurement, he went to refugee camp because he wanted to create a technology that can be really used by anyone. So he wanted to see the reality of anyone, and we met him, and we hired him as engineer. And his journey began from that. And so from Beirut, he moved to Syria, Baghdad, Dubai, and finally, last month, he made his journey to Tokyo, Japan. It's a labor pathway. It's a really rare case we could use with people with refugee background. Before this, me and Kenya was in Geneva for international conference about refugee resettlement. When we shared this, everyone was like, no way. So it's no way it's happening. The situation of refugees, last year it hit 110 million people forcibly displaced. That's like as much as Japanese population. That's really severe. And then it's estimated that it could be climate refugees for over 1 billion people in 2050 for conflict and climate crisis. It's really severe situation, but there's also a possibility because behind the word refugee, there are really diversity. People behind it, like children, LGBTQI+, women, people with disability, they're, labor, gateway to many religion and market. So if we can achieve refugee inclusion, that means really there'll be no one left behind. And coincidentally, according to IMF, we lack about 100 million digital workers globally. We see opportunity out there. And that's why we formed a partnership with Robo Coop. This is like social entrepreneur which runs online community where anyone can join from anywhere, and they can get training on digital skill, and they can become a digital talent. And we're seriously working on creating an ecosystem, and together UNHCR is already supporting our digital inclusion of refugees, and then if we could achieve this, we can not only increase the social mobility from base to top of social pyramid, but also global mobility as well. The conference in Geneva was about refugee resettlement, but that, you know, we can go beyond that. There could be a freedom of mobility, I would say. And this is Kenya. And also we had a symposium in New York this year, and with UN, we invited people even from UNDP who created SDGs, and we had a talk about tech for peace. That's really what we would like to achieve. So the example of tech for peace, it's okay, working. We can simulate evacuation routes in the case of flooding, because in Japan there are many earthquake and tsunami. People really get washed out, all right? And then, you know, which street to evacuate, it changed their life. And also, we are creating digital archive of Ukraine, for example, so that wars won't forget the pain of it, so that there will be no war anymore, we hope. And we even exhibited at G7 digital ministers meeting with UNHCR to call for actions to many governments. There are really a lot digital public goods can do. And we are actually building another digital asset. It could be a new crisis map to visualize refugees' needs to match with resources. So from left side, there are people affected in many regions, and then they can shoot out their data, and it can be checked for fact, and it can be mapped and visualized on REARs, and their needs is visualized, and it can be matched with many resources and support, and we're gonna even use virtual tokens to incentivize these flows. And even we are talking with Unitar, another UN agency, for training purpose. And we are discussing that we could potentially train 500 Ukrainians and 5,000 African people to uplift their life. And there are more. We are working with UNHCR India because there are African people who have difficulty in even opening bank account and creating a passport to evacuate. So we are working on hiring Afghans in India, more digital inclusion, and also we are working with development banks that we could implement ReEarth in Latin American region for the purpose I just stated. And we will be doing something for Osaka Expo. Expo will be in Japan in 2025. And then Welcome Japan is like NGO as a coordination body to foster multi-sectorial collaboration. And Osaka Expo is actually called as SDG Expo. And the main theme is designing future society for our lives, and sub-themes, saving lives, empowering lives, and connecting lives. It only sounds to me refugee inclusion. And then there's a program called Co-Creation Challenge. They would like to welcome everyone to challenge something new for SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So we are doing this Welcome Japan to get many actors to come together and do something new, try something new for refugee inclusion, like sending 10 refugees to Harvard, I don't know, 100 million scholarship fund, or reskilling 1,000 refugees as digital talents, for example. And Eukarya is creating an ecosystem with many actors so that we can create career impact bond. That's like pay by success scholarship fund, and that can open up entrance for education for everyone. And also, we are working on digital impact sourcing. Impact sourcing is like corporates can just outsource their IT projects to impact sourcing vendors like Unitar or Robo Coop, which hire refugees. Just outsourcing your projects can be social good. So that's how we are striving to create sustainable and scalable ecosystem. And the narrative we would like to create is refugees are not poor, but rather pioneer. In Japanese character, refugee, direct translation is difficult people. I don't know why we have that words, but they're really not. And looking at the situation of Japan, they're really in short of digital workers. By 2025, it's estimated by AWS that 29.5 million people will be in short for digital workers. And not only that, international experience of digital talents in Japan, it's kind of dead. So, you know, refugees online on rise, over 110 million people. There are no poor, rather global digital transformation talents. We would like to create that narrative. And there could be a coincidence. In 2025, there will be FOSS4G. Next one could be in Japan, I hope, from Eukarya, Diamond Partner of FOSS4G this year. Right. Yes. Woo! I know everyone want to go to Tokyo, right? This is a great city. It's kind of fake though, because Mount Fuji and Tokyo Tower is not together. But it's the future, you know. We're talking about future. We are even planning to create digital public foundation. Eukarya, the Kenya is really committed. He has a plan to donate his stock in a trust and create a digital public foundation. And that foundation can fund some social startups like Robo Coop so that we can work on digital inclusion of refugees. And the golden share could be shared to Robo NPO so that they can govern those activities if they're only going for money. We don't want that. We want social impact, not just financial impact. So that's ecosystem, another ecosystem, financial scheme we are trying to work on. So if someone is interested in donation or investment in our company, please let me know. I'm CFO. Almost last. Right, key questions. Is it true that continuing as a commuter for OSS is difficult as a decent and sustainable job, or can we utilize GIS to co-create job opportunity for marginalized people? You know the answer. It's yes with 3 R's.